تفضل.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وعلى من تبع هداهم إلى يوم الدين. Today on the 4th of Dhul Qi'dah 1445, which corresponds to the 12th of May 2024, we have reached class number 6 of Al-Tasfiyah wal-Tarbiyah wa hajatul muslimina ilayhima, purification and cultivation, and the need which the Muslims have for both of them, by the great scholar, the Muhaddith Abu Abdurrahman Muhammad Nasiruddin Al-Albani, who passed away in the year 1420. May Allah have mercy upon him.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wa mawalah. It's going to be, inshallah, the last session of this book, Al-Tasfiyah Al-Tarbiyah, and this is, I think, class number 6, as he said. And alhamdulillah, in 6 classes, we managed to finish this great little booklet, which is a lecture that's been said more than 50 years ago. So let's just go ahead now. We were left at the last time, and the last time we were talking about some of those people who are writers, the ones who are even head of some partisans. They started making rules for the coming Islamic State. It's not yet. We hope it's going to come. And then he says, the Shaykh Al-Albani, rahimahullah, that this person who had put some rules here, because this person has been studying on a particular madhab, and because of that, he sometimes opposes the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ. Not just because he wants to oppose it. No, it's because he had been brought up in such an environment to follow a certain madhab, even though it is head collision 100% with the قال Allah, قال Rasul, the saying of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And he's going to give us an example now. So if I just may ask you to read from page 43 instead of the middle of it, the beginning of it. Is that okay, Ahmed?
The beginning, yeah. Sorry, Sheikh, is the middle bit is cut off. Do I just start from the beginning?
Maybe you start a bit before that, because in Arabic it says هناك بعض الكتاب المسلمين. If you can manage to find that, I'll find it. On the text, on the page 42 at the end of it.
Yes, Sheikh, I got it.
Yeah.
One of the Muslim writers out there today details some of the rulings upon which the law of the desired Muslim state has to be built upon. So we find that this law is not built upon learning upon the way which we have pointed out, and that it is the comparative fiqh, or, with our terminology, learned in accordance with the Quran and Sunnah. Indeed, the Muslim writer, studied a madhab and then conveyed the opinion of this madhab in many of the subsidiary matters which he classified as laws. Then he placed this in the book on the basis that when the Islamic State will be established, and perhaps that will be soon, then this will be its law.
No, perhaps it will be soon. Asa, we hope it will be soon.
We hope that it will be soon.
Say, perhaps we hope. We hope, inshallah. Now.
Then this will be its law.
Correct.
In reality, he has come with nothing new, just as the author of the treatise Intoxicating Drinks came with nothing new. And the new thing which we want is that we instruct the Muslims.
Okay, so if you remember what happened regarding that fiqh, which to do with that the intoxicant or the alcohol or the wine, which is made from other than the grapes, as long as it doesn't get you drunk, there's no problem to drink it. You remember, this is the Hanafi method. And we had a person who had taken this madhab to say to the people, it's no problem for you to drink. And he put that into an article, and that is in the magazine, of the Kuwaiti magazine, which we talked about. Well, he's based upon this saying of this Imam Abu Hanifa, which is wrong. Abu Hanifa, he will be rewarded for ijtihad because he didn't have all the hadith that the scholars who came after him had. Otherwise, he would never say that the alcohol made from, let's say, this beer that we see here, the beer which is made from the hopsin and the barley, is to be halal as long as it doesn't get you drunk. He would never say that if he had to say the hadith that the other scholars had. But he didn't. So he is making ijtihad and he will be rewarded. So this person who maybe maliciously or maybe with a good intention, he taken that saying of the Imam to say to the people, no problem, drink beer as long as you don't get drunk. But the problem is as well, if you remember, we had another scholar whom the Sheikh praised somehow a number of times, Muhammad al-Hamid al-Hamawi, which is in Syria. This person, we're going to talk about him. He's a person, I think the Sheikh al-Albani, this has been said a long, long time. Sheikh al-Albani was to be alive and to re-say his lecture, he would not, I would say, praise that person. This person, he made a book too, or a letter or a treatise in order to refute this writer, which was he's writing to say that there's no problem to drink the beer from other than the grapes as long as it doesn't get you drunk. And that is in the magazine of a Kuwaiti, or to refute his argument. But at the same time, he's not daring himself to say Imam Abu Hanifa is wrong. Making him Abu Hanifa is a holy man. Abu Hanifa is a human being. He makes a mistake. That's the problem, is that we make people so much holy, we can't really tolerate for anybody to say, how dare you said he's wrong? How dare you said he's wrong? And so why the people who are Hanafis now at the moment, do you understand more than Abu Hanifa? I will tell you. But if you tell them about, do you make the beer out of the barley to be halal? If it doesn't get you wrong? No, akhi, who told you that? Well, Abu Hanifa said that. No, I don't believe that Abu Hanifa. See, look, his ignorance makes him to defend a person because he loves that person who's been brought up to have this only, and that is methodology, only madhab. So this person who is writing the new laws for a coming Islamic state is using the same thing because he's on a particular madhab. And we're going to see now what he has done. Continue, please.
However, lest it is said, indeed, another statement is authentic which another Imam has adopted because it is supported by the Sunnah.
Okay,
so this
another Imam he's talking about other than Abu Hanifa. Imam al-Shafi'i, Imam Ahmad, Imam Malik. They have said in this matter other than Abu Hanifa, which is?
So this which I'm pointing out occurs in the subject of when a Muslim kills a non-Muslim citizen in an Islamic state, and then
Muslim killing a non-Muslim citizen. What does that mean? In Islamic state, the Christians, the Jews, and the non-Muslims are welcome to stay in a Muslim state. But they are called Ahlul Dhimma. This is the citizens, called citizen. Ahlul Dhimma, that means they have a covenant from Allah Azza wa Jal that we're not allowed to harm them, to confiscate their possessions, and to oppress them, as long as they abide with the Islamic law in terms of, that is, number one, they have to pay the tributes. What is this tribute? This is a money, a tax, is being levied only from those who are capable to work, to do it. Not the poor, the person who's working. And it's to be the male, not the female, not the children. Because the Muslims pay something called zakah, so this non-Muslim pays in sort of opposition, which is to be just, to pay something called like the zakah, which is the tribute, which is al-jizya. You have to pay the jizya. And here Allah said, to pay this tribute while they're not showing pride in doing so. No. So for example, if he pays, let's say we have a box or an office where they collect this jizya, this rich person who's a non-Muslim, you're not supposed to go and send someone on his behalf to pay. It has to be himself to pay that jizya to that office. Right. So this jizya from those people is because Muslims will pay zakah willingly. Now, the hadith, so the law that this person who had made, which is the one who was deriving laws for the Islamic status to come, which is to do with if a Muslim had killed, somebody's reading Ikhwani. Okay. Can I just ask you, my dear brothers at the back, you're talking to each other, can you just come forward? You're coming to the class to read, aren't you? You have to listen. If you're coming to talk, you can just go talk outside. No, come forward. No. Stand up, stand up, walk, and sit down here. Come close as possible. And they'll get away from each other. That's it. That's it. Trying to benefit. Come on, there's a forward, Ikhwani. Don't leave spaces at the back. Don't leave. Wallah, it's not correct. I am really giving you something, wallahi. I would be beaten up by Sheikh Al-Albani like this. Come on, sit. See, look, he's finding a space. I don't know why. Allah. There's something. Is it? It's like a bee. You sure there's no wasps here? You want to be stung with one of them? Like, could you hear what I hear? Yeah. It's gone through. Alhamdulillah. Jazakallah. What have you done? It's okay. Now it's okay. Let's switch off this. This is this one. This is the culprit. I have to have it. Fine. Okay, fine. Right. What did the Prophet said regarding if a Muslim killed a non-Muslim who lives in Islamic state? Go ahead, Ahmed.
When a Muslim kills a non-Muslim citizen in an Islamic state and then is killed because of him in retaliation. This is a well-known opinion in Islamic fiqh. However, there is another opinion out there which confronts this and is its opposite, and it is when a Muslim kills a non-Muslim citizen, then he is not killed because of him due to his sallallahu alaihi wasallam saying in Sahih al-Bukhari, a Muslim is not killed because of a non-Muslim.
Right. Now, Prophet Allah said, the Muslim, if he had did a crime against a non-Muslim in Islamic state and killed him, he could have life imprisonment. He could have a punishment, anything but the death penalty. He would have life imprisonment, no problem. The judge will rule for that. But Islamically, according to the Prophet of Allah, no. Because usually it is the case that the Muslim, he will be abiding by the Islamic law, which tells him that if you kill someone, it's like you kill the whole nations. If you kill one person, it's like you killed everybody. It's embedded into him the Islamic rules and Islamic code. That is, he will not behave such a thing. So if he had to kill one non-Muslim, then there must be a reason, whether it's been a reason found and legalized by the judge, or maybe it was hidden, he didn't know about it. That's why his punishment will be not the death penalty. Continue, please.
What has made this learned scholar and modern-day writer place in the Islamic system and Islamic law that the Muslim is killed because of the non-Muslim, in opposition to the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ? I believe that the reason is because he studied the fiqh which he was brought up on, and then he made it an obligation to follow. So is this the return to the religion? Indeed, the religion says a Muslim is not killed because of a non-Muslim, but the madhab says he is killed because of him. Likewise, the writer himself says about the same subject, if a Muslim kills a non-Muslim citizen by mistake, then what is his blood money? His blood money is the same blood money if he killed a Muslim.
Which is wrong.
This is what the law says in accordance with the madhab which it relies upon, whilst the Messenger ﷺ said, the blood money of a non-Muslim is half the blood money of a Muslim.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he made it like this. The blood money of a non-Muslim is half the amount and the value of the blood money of a Muslim. Same thing with the slave and the free. The slave is half of the blood money of the free. Fadl. Also the women and the male and female. Now,
thus do we then take on this law or that statement which opposes it, and there are many other examples out there similar to this. The return
right.
to
By the way, the writer or the one who had written the thing regarding the alcohol, those people, as I said, very strict in following their madhab, even if it opposes the hadith of the Prophet. And their argument is as follows. Well, it must be that the Imam Abu Hanifa saw it and he did not consider it. Look at that. Well, Abu Hanifa didn't know it because he did not talk about it. So how can you just say he saw it and then he just throw it in the bin? No. You throw the Imam Abu Hanifa's in the bin, but you don't throw the saying of the Prophet in the bin. And that's what the scholars said about themselves. If my verdict is to oppose the Prophet's verdict, throw my sayings in the bin. As Imam Shafi said, in the hush. Imam Shafi said, in the hush, meaning the toilet. Throw it in the toilet. Can't match my words to the words of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Khwani, this person whom Imam Al-Albani had a number of times here in this book, about 2 or 3 times he had praised, Muhammad Hamid al-Hamawi. He had written a treatise in order to refute those people or those scholars who had opened the door for ijtihad. You know that some of those scholars, they were so strict, especially the ones, the madhabis, Abu Hanifa's madhab, for example, they have closed the door in the 4th century that there is no ijtihad. No ijtihad, meaning ijtihad to arrive to a new verdict regarding a matter which wasn't being dealt at the time of the Prophet ﷺ. So aghlaqu abwab al-ijtihad. So he made a treatise, this person, to refute those people who wants to open the ijtihad. And then he called this لزوم اتباع مذاهب الأئمة حسما للفوضى الدينية. You must abide yourself with one of those school of thoughts in order to seize this chaos in religion. So he's calling the person who is choosing the right methodology, the right verdict from the Prophet of Allah is chaos. No, you have to choose either Shafi'i or Maliki or Hanbali or Hanafi. Choose. Like 4 religions. If you don't choose, you're chaotic. You're chaos. You are a person who has no system. Subhanallah. So the one who follows the Prophet of Allah got no system. You have to have one of those 4 madhab. Did Abu Hanifa or Malik or Shafi'i or Ahmad say, oh, people follow us? They never said it. On the contrary. And we have discussed this at the beginning of this book, alhamdulillah. So Buti, the one who was killed in Syria, this person, a'udhu billah, he had also presented himself, the one who was from the premier followers of this person who preceded him, Al-Hamawi, and he's a sheikh, and he's the one who fought the Salafiyah. So he made a booklet, or a book, called Alla Madhabiyya. There's not to have a madhab, akhtaru bid'ah, the most dangerous bid'ah, innovation, tuhaddidu sharia al-Islamiyya, that is threatening the legislation of Islam. Look at his book title. It says, Alla Madhabiyya, means not to have a madhab. So you're not Shafi'i, you're not Maliki, this is the most dangerous innovation that is threatening the foundation of the Islamic legislation, Islamic religion. So one of the sheikhs called Muhammad al-Abbasi, he's one of the students of Sheikh Al-Albani, he made a bigger book to refute that book. And he called it Bid'at al-Ta'assub al-Madhabi. The innovation of to have strict connection to a certain madhab. That means to be fanatic to a certain methodology or school of thought. That's the bid'ah. That's the bid'ah itself. Bid'ah al-Ta'assub al-Madhab, in which he brought lots of things there that makes your hair gray. So for example, if you want to be Hanafi, then okay. When it comes to the Jama'ah, let's say we're 6 people there. And it's not a masjid. One of them has to lead. They have to lead according to this category. First, the one who knows about the book of Allah the most. Okay, that's understandable. It's the hadith of the Prophet of Allah. So the one who knows more Quran, he will lead. If they are the same, let's say all of them have. 6 people, all of them have. The one, the most who knows about the Sunnah the most. Okay, he means this person memorizes more than the other person in hadith, alhamdulillah, which is the hadith of the Prophet. Thirdly, the one who is committed to the deen first. So which one had, grown up the beard and was religious? Let's say all of the 6 people, mashallah, the same came to Islam and reverted. Let's say they were not Muslim and reverted at the same time. Okay, they're the same. And we go to the following category, which is the one who is older in age. I mean, this is enough categorization. I don't think you're going to find those people, the 6 or the 5 or the 3 people, okay, the same date of birth. Huh? So they said, okay, well, let's say that they are equal. Now, the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ is finished now. So they want to improvise now. This is the hadith. It's in the books of the hadith until today. And this is Imam or the Shaykh Muhammad al-Abbasi. He brings it in his book, Bidat al-Asr. He said, if they are the same in age, date of birth is the same, mashallah, mashallah, the twins, all of them, then the one who's got the biggest head. So start now measuring with the measuring tape. Which one has got bigger head? With a bigger head, that means mashallah, got brains. So all of them, okay, what about they've got the same? If they equal, they say, if they are equal, big heads, the one who's got the most beautiful wife. So I'm going to check. I don't know how I'm going to check now. I'm going to be a beauty contest, huh? The Queen of Beauty. Queen of Beauty, we see. You know why? Because they said there's a logic behind this. The one who's got the most beautiful wife, the one who's going to be lowering his game the most. He's got the most beautiful wife. Look at the woman. So he's got more pious. So you lead. Right. And it goes. Now the other one, this one, which is the last one, if they are the same, then the one who's got something I can't even say. The smallest, fill up the gap. Smallest, fill up the gap. You don't want to fill up the gap? Think about it. The smallest. Why? Because he's pious. The smallest one. So how are you going to measure it now? I don't know. Now the hilarious thing, what about if they were the same? It's in the book. So all of them, whatever, big, small, Jama'ah, there's no Jama'ah. That's the last one. No Jama'ah. Something like this puts you off from the deen. Puts you off from the deen. And that is still in the books here. Right. Let's go to Imam Ahmad. Continue, please.
The return to the religion is the return to the Quran and the Sunnah. That is the religion according to the consensus of the Imams, and that is what is the protection from deviation and falling into misguidance. Due to that, he sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, I have left among you 2 things, which if you adhere to, you will never go astray. The Book of Allah and my Sunnah. They will not become separated until they return back to me at the pool.
What is the pool? This is the fountain, the pool, the pond of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which each prophet has one. The biggest one of all of them is the pool of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It is so sweet, so nice, and all of those who came from this gathering, and after the sweat and all of this, all of them, they will head towards the pool of the Prophet of Allah. The Prophet of Allah, he says, no, you're not from me. You're not from me. Go to follow your Prophet. Prophet Nuh, go to Nuh alayhi salam. Prophet Ibrahim, go to Ibrahim alayhi salam. Only whom? The ones who are from Ummah Muhammad. They will drink from it. This is the fountain or the pool. And there is 2 mizab or 2 gutters going into this pool, which is on the land of gathering, okay, which is on earth. And those scattering is coming from where? From the heaven. It's pouring into it. From Al-Kawthar. From the Kawthar, which is in the Jannah. It's going into that. Now, fadal.
So, we have given some of the examples which make it obligatory upon the people of knowledge today to return to the understanding of the religion by way of its 2 aforementioned foundations, the Quran and the Sunnah. This is so that the Muslims do not fall into making lawful what Allah has made forbidden, being deluded into thinking that it is from what Allah has made permissible.
Now the Sheikh is going to conclude his talk. Go ahead.
And now, my final word around the return to the religion. If we want honor from Allah, the Blessed, the Most High, and that He lifts the humiliation from us and helps us against the enemy, then it is not simply sufficient for that in what we have pointed out. It is not sufficient to just know. The obligation of correcting the concepts and removing the opinions which have been misinterpreted the proofs of the Sharia among the people of knowledge and specialist fiqh. Rather, there is something else out there which is very important, and it
You
is
know
the
what it
essence.
is? You know what it is? Anybody? Because the book says Tasfiyah Tarbiyah. Tasfiyah means filterization. And the filterization is now all we've been talking about filterization. Now we're going to come to the what? The cultivation. Tarbiyah. Fadal.
And it is the essence of correcting the concepts. Indeed, it is action. Knowledge is the vehicle for action, and when a person learns and his knowledge is absolutely clear, and then he does not act upon it, then it is extremely obvious that this knowledge will not bear any fruits. Thus, it is necessary that the action be linked with this knowledge. It is obligatory upon the people of knowledge that they assume responsibility for the tarbiyah, cultivation of the new Muslim generation in light of what has been established from the Quran and Sunnah. It is not permissible for us to leave the people to that which they have inherited from concepts and mistakes, with some of these being definitely false according to the consensus of the Imams, and others being differed upon having some validity by way of observation, ijtihad, and opinion. And some of this ijtihad and opinion is in conflict with the Sunnah. So after the tasfiyah, purification of these matters and the clarification of what is obligatory to proceed and advance upon, it is necessary to cultivate the new generation upon this authentic knowledge. This is the tarbiyah which will produce for us the pure Islamic society and consequently establish for us an Islamic state.
Right, Khwani, you have to know that we have to have knowledge and action. If we have just the knowledge and we don't implement the knowledge, we're going to be like the who. Who are these people whom I'm being Allah is having the wrath from them? The Jew. They're knowledgeable in the scripture, but they didn't have any actions. Same thing, if we had actions without knowledge, we're going to be like the whom? Christians. Christians are the one who misguided. They're dedicated devotees to their religion, but no knowledge. We have to have both. Further.
Without these two premises, the authentic knowledge and the correct tarbiyah upon the authentic knowledge, it is impossible, in my belief, that the base of Islam or the rule of Islam or the Islamic State will be established. So I will give an example of the necessity of this correct tarbiyah. Amongst us in Sham, there is a Muslim group which wants to act.
He's talking Sheikh Al-Albani now about Jama'at Al-Ikhwan Al-Muslim. When the Sheikh was there, this Jama'ah was in its peak of its power. Jama'at Al-Ikhwan Al-Muslimin. The Brotherhood, you call it? The Brotherhood Party. The Brotherhood Party had actually was established in order to fight the separation of deen from the state and also to fight the secularism, so-called. That's their goals at the beginning, which is to fight or to refute or to stop this secularism which was attacking at that time. And not to separate the Islamic State from the deen, because before they used to make politics and the deen is just in the masajid. So they were accepting this. So the goal was precious and good. The one who had founded this Jamaat al-Ikhwan, his name is Hassan al-Banna, Egyptian person. And this has been established. The Hassan al-Banna had founded this group in the year 1347 Hijri, and I know that you don't know the Hijri, so it is Christian-wise, Christian era, 1928. 1928. Hassan al-Banna, he was born 1906, so it was 1906. He was born, and he died. He was killed 1949. From the people who are senior and the ones who I could say are the figures and the pillars of this da'wah, a man called Hassan al-Hudaybi. He was the murshid. Murshid means the one who is the guider or the manager, or whatever you want to call him, of the Ikhwan, 1950. After Hassan al-Banna was killed, he was the one. Then Sayyid Qutb, also, he was one of the great people of theirs. And he was executed in his prison, and at the time of Jamal Abdel Nasser, and a person called Umar al-Tilmsani, and another person called Mustafa Mashhur, and Muhammad Mahmoud al-Sawaf. I'm mentioning these things for the record, or for the record here, just as well to understand. Mustafa al-Sibai. Mustafa al-Sibai is the Sheikh of Muhammad Surur. Muhammad Surur, he was a person, the last days of his, he was in England. He was in England. I came to see him. This person was Sheikh Al-Halal. And this is the one who founded the Sururiya. Sururiya is actually, they look Salafi, but inside is Ikhwan. So the chassis, or the body, is Salafi. It looks Salafi, but the inside is the Ikhwan. Everything's Ikhwani. Also from their figures, which are contemporary figures, the new ones, Al-Qaradawi, as well, one of them. From their principles, and that is being said by Hassan al-Banna and adopted by all of them, التعاون فيما اتفقنا فيه وأن يعذر بعضنا البعض فيما اختلفنا فيه. That is to cooperate with one another. I mean, cooperate with the different groups and different ideologies in the Muslims. That is, we cooperate with what is common in between us. And the things that we differ, we excuse one another for it. And the danger of this principle, it cancels something called forbidding evil. So if I see something wrong that you've done it, let's say that you're drinking the beer from the what? From the barley, and you're not getting drunk. And you have a saying from Abu Hanifa. So for the sake of me being together, never mind the Sharia, as long as we are in the same party, Ikhwan Muslimin, we are there paying maybe 10% for the Jama'ah. So as long as we are like this, so no problem, akhi. You drink beer, okay, I'll keep a close eye, because we have to excuse one another regarding the difference. See, that's the danger of it. No enjoining good, no forbidding evil. So we just in the common things. Exactly, you could say most of the Jama'at, they do the same thing. Jama'at Tabligh, right? Jama'at Tabligh, as long as we do the first most important thing is just khuruj. Come together to go and call another people to the deen. Or which deen? We don't know which deen. So everything now put underneath the table. Aqeedah, put on the table. Methodologies under the table. Nothing on the top of the table. But to hide everything. All we have to do is just put the turban, go to the people, khuruj. So what? So you could make other people to make khuruj. So what? To make other people to make khuruj. What is the end of it? You have to learn how to cook food as well. But there's nothing, no deen, so that you find them, each person praying different from the other person. Each person holds a different aqeedah from the other person. And if they investigate properly, this person's aqeedah will make that person to be a disbeliever. Yet, what is in common? Khuruj. Jama'at Tabligh. Same thing with the ikhwan. So from this as well, we say, from the principles as well, Jammi' thumma thaqif. That means gather. And then we'll give them what we want to give them. And that's what the Prophet did not do. It's the opposite. Prophet Allah did not say, okay, you my clans, you Quraysh, you are with me. Come together. No. He said, Qulu la ilaha illallah. Say la ilaha illallah. Say with thaqif al-makatib. Meaning, educate. And onto this education, the people will come. But just to bring them together. And then, after bringing them together, he said, I'll give them that. That's not the da'wah of Islam. One of the brothers, he had made something to make sure that people get together, but it's actually, he wanted the money. So he had innovated something, a name. I'm not going to say that name. I don't want to bring attention to him. So he made a name so everybody can come. So bringing them to the Eid all together. He made them fanfares and everything. MashaAllah, people love the fanfare. And then from everywhere they come. Brailwis, they come, Dahabandis, they come, Salafis, they come all together. They do nothing. That's it. One. As long as we had one Eid. Alhamdulillah, one behind Imam, that's it. But where is this? Where is the education? Because if once you start thinking Tawheed, Brailwi will leave you. He said, you Wahhabi. Right away. It's not going to be with you at all. That's not our da'wah. We don't make, food blender, mixing like together. No way. Because that Brailwi, he sees to me, I'm a disbeliever outside the fold of Islam. My blood is lawful for him. So I have to make sure that he understands my aqeedah. What is the aqeedah of the Prophet ﷺ that he had left us upon? This Jama'at al-Ikhwan, I believe it is the mother of all Jama'at which are deviant, whether it is Tahrir, except for Jama'at Tabligh. Jama'at Tabligh is different. So this is the mother of ISIS, the mother of Takfir, the mother of Tafjir, the mother of all of them. From them had emerged all those Jama'at. They have no concern about the Tawheed. Nothing. You never see them, for example, talking about Sharh al-Qawa'id al-Muthla, Sifat Allah Azza wa Jal, Asma Allah Azza. They don't talk about Tawheed. Tawheed to them is the last thing. Politics, politics, politics. They don't follow the fatwa. They only follow what is beneficial for them. From their deviance, number one, they fight the Salafi, wherever they are. They accept anybody, even Shia, except for the Salafi. They don't accept it. And Jamil al-Rahman, who was in Afghanistan, he was killed by one of them. Also, they are making the youth of theirs, because the youth, they are in need of what? They like sport, they like nasheed, okay? So you don't find them halaqat of writing knowledge. No. Best thing is to make it have their masajid got table tennis all the time. They'll have, for example, I'm not saying this is wrong, but this is the main thing. So when you come to the masjid, let's have a game. They're not coming to the masjid, but have a game. And also, on top of that, the nasheed. They don't really, Quran, no, the law, what is the last nasheed? Huh? So you got the top of the pump, nasheed is all. When the last nasheed has been taken up, under nasheed. So, under nasheed, Allah al-Musta'an. Lingering around the graves as well. Yes, there are some of them. Because remember, Hassan al-Banna, rahimahullah, and I'm saying rahimahullah, he's a Muslim, that he was a person who was brought up onto the Tariq al-Hasafiyah, Sufi way. Tariq al-Hasafiyah. He was brought up with the Tariq al-Hasafiyah. I remember something, and I wanted to just say it before I forget it. When I went with Sheikh Al-Halabi to Muhammad bin Surur, because his Sheikh was Mustafa al-Sibai, Muhammad bin Surur, he said with himself on his tongue, and I am recording this with my ears, and even if Sheikh Al-Halabi later on talks about this, he will say, Abu Suhaib, you remember that? Yes. That he's talking about this Sheikh Muhammad Mustafa al-Sibai. That when he was dying, he was in pain. So he started calling upon names. Help me. Names of so-called holy men. Jilani, Badawi. This person, such help me. Aghifni. This is a student. I'm not really shocked by this, but the shock is when he said, but even he said this, he said, I can't give him an excuse because he was in pain. Do you understand that? So if you are in pain, ya ikhwani, the kuffar of the mushrikeen, when they are in the pain of theirs, fill up the gap. When he's a gun, fill up the gap. Fill up the gap. Yes. The pain, the kuffar, when they are in pain or they are in need, they will be what? Mukhlisin. Sincere to Allah. Only when they are in prosperity, they make shirk. This is even worse than the kuffar. Do you understand the kuffar? The kuffar, فَإِذَا رَكِبُوا فِي الْفُلْكِ دَعَوُوا اللَّهَ مُخْلِصِينَ لَهُ. If they go to the ark, the ship is waiting, oh Lord, they know Allah. فَلَمَّا أَنْجَاهُمْ إِلَى الْبَرِّ إِذَا هُمْ بِهِمْ يُشْرِكُونَ. If when Allah gave them to make safety to the beach, in committing shirk. Only when they are in hardship, they call upon Allah sincerely. Us, al-'udhu billah, in prosperity and in hardship, we call upon other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right. Continue, Ya Ahmed.
Amongst us in Sham, there is a Muslim group. Footnote, this group is Al-Ikhwan al-Muslimun, the Muslim Brotherhood, which wants to act according to Islam, bring new life into it, and to be cultivated with it and cultivate the new generation upon it. However, we feel in entirety that many of those who guide others out there are in need of extensive learning about Islam themselves upon the sound and authentic methodology which we have pointed out as has preceded. We see many of these young Muslim youth calling one another to the gathering on Friday night for its revival. This calling one another is for the obedience of Allah and for His worship, and this is something very beautiful. However, because they have not studied the Sunnah and they have not studied its fiqh, and they have not found a generation which cultivated them upon it since their tender age, then they are falling into what opposes the Sunnah. And we point out with his sallallahu alaihi wasallam statement, do not single out the night of Jumu'ah from the other nights for prayer, and do not single out the day of Jumu'ah from the other days for fasting. So why do we revive the night of Jumu'ah whilst the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam prohibited us from that? The answer, because we have no knowledge. What is required is that the direction comes from the people of knowledge, that it is not permissible to revive this night due to his sallallahu alaihi wasallam's above mentioned saying.
Okay, so we find here, and I've witnessed that with my own eyes as well myself, that those people, they want to do something good, and they believe it's good, but it's wrong. And that is the night preceding the Jummah. It's called the Laylatul Jummah. They specify that night for a qiyam. Number one, which is bid'ah or prohibition, is that Prophet of Allah, he said, do not specify the night of Jummah for qiyam, nor to specify the day of Jumu'ah for Siyam. There's an addition which is supposed to be in the hadith, illa, except if it's a fast which habitually happens to be your fast. It's a habitual fast. So if you are making Qiyam and happens to be the night of the Jumu'ah is one of your Qiyam, it's no problem. But to specify the night of the Jumu'ah, no. If you want to fast the Jumu'ah, happens to be the day of Arafah, the day of Jumu'ah, no problem. But to specify the Jumu'ah just like that is not correct, and it's against the Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the addition of this hadith, إلا أن يكون صياما يصومه أحد. طيب. So those people, first wrong, that is opposing that. Second thing wrong, they make Qiyam together. The Jama'ah, the Qiyam is in Taraweeh, in Ramadan. Okay. I have seen one day when I was in the masjid in my country, in Jordan there, and it was the night of the Jummah. So we are making now Salat Jummah. We were behind the Imam, and the Imam reciting the Fatiha, and then Surah Al-Sajdah, and then the Fatiha, Surah Al-Dhul. And we were in the first rak'ah. Maybe finished the Fatiha, maybe, but whatever. As soon as he finished the Fatiha, or as soon as he was, I could hear the clamor, the noise. Our masjid is big, huge. You could say you could put about 3,000-4,000. So I was almost in the last row, third, fourth, fifth row, I can't remember, last row. So when the prayer is finished, I looked about 3-4 rows, even double the masjid, just came. And all of them are youth. So after the prayer is finished, I went to one of them, what is happening? What is this? She just told me it's from the Jama'at al-Ikhwan. Where were you? We were in the graveyard. What are you doing? The Sheikh told us each person has to take a grave and sleep next to it. Why is that? He said to strengthen our hearts, prepare us for jihad. If you're the Ikhwan Muslimin, you know what I'm talking about. So each person goes to a grave to remove the fear from his heart, from the dead. Lie down next to it until the Fajr. Do you sleep? No, we're not going to sleep. We'll just stay awake. And remember, the graveyards of ours is not a graveyard like here, like a fun fair, or find. No. The graveyard is very, very scary. No lights, nothing. Very scary at that time. طيب تفضل يا أحمد.
You will find others from amongst those good youth who make lawful the listening of songs and musical instruments, and this is because they find the radio broadcasts filling up the ears. There does not exist out there any general direction for this new Muslim generation, that indeed the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam prohibited stringed instruments and warned against
this. Translation is supposed to be there isn't any direction. There isn't people who are supposed to direct, or a general direction to direct these youth, that the Prophet ﷺ had prohibited those instruments, which is the musical instruments, and warned us as well. Yes, again, and warned us
He sallallahu alayhi wasallam threatened those who enter into the evening with entertainment.
Before that, and he warned from
And
listening.
sorry, Sheikh, and warned against listening to them. He sallallahu alayhi wasallam threatened those who enter into the evening with entertainment and amusement, and who listen to stringed instruments, that they will be transformed into apes and swine.
Swines. Yeah, swines. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, they've put swine. This new generation has not been cultivated upon the knowledge of what is allowed and what is not allowed, because it finds many statements out there. So, for example, this generation finds Ibn Hazm, the Imam, who has a treatise on the permissibility of musical instruments. Before long, this treatise is published and propagated amongst the people and corresponds to their desire. Maybe
Okay. Well, this treatise, okay, Al-Imam Al-Albani rahimahullah had refuted it, and he had made a book to refute that treatise of Imam Ibn Hazm, which is called Tahrim Alat al-Tarab, prohibition of the musical instruments. Ibn Hazm rahimahullah is Ali ibn Ahmad ibn Sa'id ibn Haram. He died in the year 456 Hijri, and they call him Zahiri. Zahiri is superficial, I don't know what they call Zahiri, but actually Zahiri means they don't believe in Qiyas. And in terms of sifat of Allah Azza wa Jal, he is like the Jahmiyyah in the sifat. But in terms of, we'd say Ibn Hazm rahimahullah is a person, you could read his books, but you have to be careful from his tongue. Al-Muhalla, okay, in Sir Alam al-Nubala, Izz al-Din ibn Abd al-Salam, the scholar, he said, I've never seen in the books of Islam regarding knowledge like the Muhalla, which is to Ibn Hazm, and Al-Mughni to Ibn Qudama. Imam al-Dhahabi, who is the author of the Sir Alam al-Nubala, he said he's truthful. That is Al-Izz ibn Abd al-Salam, he's truthful. And the third book is As-Sunan al-Kubra al-Bayhaqi, and the fourth book, At-Tamheed ibn Abd al-Bar. He who had read these books, he would have been from the smart muftis. So if you read these four books, you can become, mashallah, a scholar. So I'll repeat them again. Al-Muhalla, Ibn Hazm, Al-Mughni, Ibn Qudama, Al-Maqdisi. And As-Sunan al-Kubra al-Bayhaqi, the fourth one, At-Tamheed ibn Abd al-Bar.
Maybe some of those who guide others maybe some of those who guide others and some of those who claim to reform will say, as long as there exists this Imam who has the likes of this opinion, then we will follow him or blind follow him in our listening to music, especially as this has become a general necessity. But where is the Sunnah then? Indeed, the Sunnah has become completely forgotten. When the Messenger ﷺ appointed a cure for the lifting of the prevailing humiliation from us, then indeed it is nothing more than the return to the religion. Therefore, it is obligatory upon us to understand the religion through the people of knowledge with a correct understanding, corresponding to the Quran and the Sunnah, and
that means synchronizing with the Quran and the Sunnah. Now,
and that we cultivate the righteous, good generation upon that. This is the way to cure the problem which every Muslim complains about. Indeed, the statement of one of the reformers in the present age pleases me.
And this is the statement of Al-Hudaybi. His name is Hassan Hudaybi, and he's from the Ikhwan Muslimin. He was the Murshid, 1950, the manager or the one who was the guider of the Ikhwan Muslimin after the assassination of Hassan al-Banna, Hassan Hudaybi. So it just shows us as well that we don't. If these people are deviant in their methodology, it doesn't mean that if they said something it has to be wrong. No. Sometimes we take the wisdom from those people who say that they are deviant, like the Sufis. For example, the thing that we've taken from the Sufis as a hikmah, which is supported by the Quran and the Sunnah. من تعجل الشيء قبل أوانه عوقب بحرمان. He who had hasten the issue before it is due, he will be deprived from it. This is punishment of his. If you're going to hasten the matter before it is due, you'll be punished by being deprived from it. And here as well, we have a saying of this person, which is pleased the Sheikh Al-Albani, and I heard it from the Sheikh so many times, countless. And that is?
In reality, it is as if it is a summary of what I have said or explained above. In my opinion, it is as if it is inspiration from the sky. He says, establish,
That means that's like it's like a revelation, which is
establish the Islamic State in your hearts, and it will be established for you upon your earth.
أقيموا دولة الإسلام في قلوبكم تقم لكم على أرضكم. Establish Islamic states in your heart. It will be established for you on your land. What does that mean? Establish the Islamic state in your heart. I mean, build buildings in your heart and make windows. And what does that mean? Means before you look forward to have an Islamic state on the land where you want to live, first of all, make sure that yourself abiding by the Islam, your family is abiding by Islam. The small house of yours is abiding by the Islam. Then after that, it will go. It's like a cancer, but a good cancer. It will go further. It will infect the other society. So the neighbors will be the same thing. Then you'll have the locality. Then you'll have the town. Then you'll have the center, the city, then the country. But you go Islam, 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 and there's no Islam whatsoever in your house. You look at you, nothing about Islam. I can't distinguish you from the non-Muslim. And you say Islam, Islam. Oh, I love Muhammad. And look at him, he's got a t-shirt, which was from Michael Jackson. He loves the Prophet of Allah. Look at him as well. He's got his hairstyle made this way and shooting up. I love Muslim. I love Muhammad. It doesn't work like this. أقيموا دولة الإسلام في قلوبكم تقام لكم على أرضكم. تفضل.
Without doubt, we have to rectify ourselves on the foundation of our Islam and our religion up until the Islamic State is established upon this earth of ours. And this, as we have mentioned, cannot happen with ignorance. Rather, it only happens with knowledge. In conclusion, I advise every individual who is able to participate in this great matter, and that he and other than him cooperate with those who are qualified in explaining the Islam which came from the Quran and the Sunnah, and that he cooperate in the Tarbiyah of the generation upon that. This is a reminder, and the reminder benefits the believers. May the peace and mercy and blessings of Allah be upon you.
By the grace of Allah and the blessings of Allah Azza wa Jal, that we have finished the book. And what time is the Maghrib? Nobody knows? 5-2. It's 5-2. Adhan Maghrib, yeah? 5-2. Okay, then Maghrib. So we got, alhamdulillah, good 15 minutes. Before these 15 minutes, we would like to summarize everything in less than 3 minutes. What was this in the book, the whole of it? First, the book talked about khutbat al-haja, the expressing of need, and how important it is. Then it talked about, this is the lecture, Sheikh Al-Albani was talking about the humiliation, the level of humiliation which this ummah had reached. And it's actually from the prophethood signs. Because the Prophet of Allah, he said, there's no year going to pass except for the following will be worse until you meet your Lord. Thirdly, that it is must upon us to return to the Quran and the Sunnah in order to know the disease, why we are weak, and how to get the remedy. Also, the whole lecture rotates around the hadith of the Prophet of Allah, إِذَا تَبَايَعْتُمْ بِالْعِينَةِ, you trade into ina, which is riba, but riba with manipulation. Not straightforward riba, manipulation. You're fooling Allah Azza wa Jalla. إِذَا تَبَايَعْتُمْ بالعينة وأخذتم أناب البقر ورضيتم بالزرع, you hold on to the tail of the cows and you satisfy yourself with the agriculture, which we explained. That means you are having all of that on the expense of the akhirah. You're hooking to the dunya, not the akhirah. No problem to have agriculture, no problem to plant trees, but not the expense of your deen. قال وتركتم الجهاد, and you abandon the jihad, all sorts of jihad. سلط الله عليكم ذلا, Allah will impose upon you humiliation. لا ينزعه عنكم, it will not be removed حتى ترجعوا إلى دينكم, until you go back to your religion. The whole lecture, the whole book is about this hadith. So you're not going to get triumph, you're not going to lift the humiliation until you go back to your religion. And the Sheikh Al-Albani is asking, what religion do you want to go to? Shafi'i, Hanabi, Hanbali, Hanbali. Yes, there's lots of flavors on the market. Which one? Which flavor you want it? Then Sheikh as well, he talked about, well, in this hadith, for example, Prophet of Allah is being given the collective words. Few words, a lot of meanings. Also, it's like the Prophet of Allah is living amongst us. Because he's been speaking from divine. Allah told him. Okay. And then thirdly, he has mentioned in this hadith two types of disease. First disease, which is to manipulate in order to make haram halal. التحايل لاستحلال ما حرم الله. So to manipulate, like for example, the riba, something that the person riba, أعوذ بالله. When you say interest, فائدة in Arabic, no problem. Riba is فائدة, but the word took away the fear of that word riba. Also, خمر, intoxicant, أعوذ بالله. But مشروبات روحية, spirits, no problem. See, you're belittling the impact of those words, changing these things. That's the first disease. Second disease, that is, you are after dunya. After dunya. So then he talked about the danger of the ina, and he gave us some example, and that he said, we're going to be under the curse, just like the Jews were under the curse for manipulation of the rules of Allah Azza wa Jal. We talked about the agriculture and what is halal, what is not halal. We talked about the jihad in all its types. And we talked about that coming back to the religion is the only remedy in order to lift the humiliation, to go back to the triumph. And we said, what type of religion? And we talked about the huge differences among the Muslims in terms of aqidah and methodology. And these differences goes back to 3 points: ignorance, fanaticism, and whims and desire. Those are the 3 things that are the 3 elements why we have this divergence, this split. Ignorance and fanaticism, fanatic. Thirdly is the whims and desire. And we said that there is no way to go back to the deen except by going back to the Quran and the Sunnah according to the understanding of the Salaf al-Ummah. And then we said we have to purify our books and for the Quran, not the Quran, the Sunnah, the tafsir, the exegesis of the Quran as well, the interpretation, the fiqh, from all of those things that would oppose. We have tafsir ibn Mardawayh, lots of disasters in it. We have even in the Arabic language, Lisan al-Arab, Ibn Mandur, because Ibn Mandur as well is not Salafi. So you have there some sort of i'tizal in that book, of the Arabic. Also the fiqh, so the aqid, some of the books talk about for example, there's no ulu, highness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he said as well about the fiqh matters. He talked about the khamr, intoxicant drink, and how is the madhab Hanafi is making it all right to have any drink from other than the grapes, as long as you don't get drunk. Also, having marriage without wali. You know the Hanafi madhab. If 2 people got together, father does not agree for that girl to marry, she will just go to Hanafi masjid and that's it, they get married without wali. And the Prophet of Allah said, this is batil, false 3 times. Also, I talked about Sheikh Al-Albani that some of the youth, they are having the zealous to go and change the rules into the rules of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but at the same time, they're not having the zealous to change those ideologies and these school of thoughts, which are also collide 100% with the Sharia. And also, it is important to teach al-fiqh al-muqaran. Fiqh al-muqaran is the comparison fiqh. The one will show you which one is correct here. Is it madhab Hanafi, Shafi'i in each particular matter? And he says the Islamic State upon which madhab we're going to have. Then he talked about killing the Muslim, the one who is non-Muslim, and how it is opposing the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Then he talked about the last wording of the last advice, Sheikh Al-Albani, the last advice, and then he finished with أقيموا دولة الإسلام في قلوبكم تقم لكم على أرضكم. Establish Islamic State in your heart, it will be established for you in your land. By this, alhamdulillah, had finished the whole of the book, and as I said, 3 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. Okay, so we have questions now. Jazakumullah khairan. Please have questions which is related to the topic. If it's not related to the topic, we will tolerate, inshallah. Yeah, the ones who's well online, you want to put your hands up. Yalla ikhwan. On ground, on chairs. Nobody. Okay. Online, any questions as well? Fadal ya Shammam.
Assalamu alaikum, Shaykhana.
Salam.
Ahsan Allahu ilayk. What are some of the best books in order to study the various opinions of the madhahib? I remember you mentioned the Majmu' of Imam al-Nawawi, but are there any other books besides that one? Barakallahu feek.
No, I wouldn't recommend for you to go and study the Majmu'. Majmu' is a huge book. To study the Madhahib, it's not correct to go and study the Madhahib. Best thing is to study a book linked to the hadiths, linked to the proofs. So one of the books that you could read is Bulugh al-Mara. Very good book. And inshallah, very soon I'm going to be starting that book. I don't know where, but I'm going to start that book. Bulugh al-Mara. Because it's proofs. From that proof, we go to the verdict. It's not we put a verdict and then we look for a proof. Which one is suitable for this? This is a great book, and you could read it, but the Majmu' is going to be, you're finding it going to be difficult for a person, especially the starter. Person to start with this, it's a lot. Talking about 20 plus volumes. And also from the books that we could say simple ones, there is one which is called Al-Mawsu' al-Fiqhiyya, Sheikh Hussein Awash, still alive, the Sheikh. He made it, it's now 10 volumes. But it's very good. And it comprises as well the sayings of Shaykh Al-Albani rahimahullah. All of it based upon hadith, Quran and Sunnah, and simple. And from the great books as well, Al-Wajiz. I don't know if we taught it in this masjid or not. Yes, we taught it in this masjid. Al-Wajiz. We finished it, alhamdulillah. Now, wallahu a'lam. Any other questions, Ikhwani? تفضل يا احمد.
جزاكم الله خيرا شيخنا الكريم.
There's no on-ground questions. There's only online.
We read in the book that Shaykh Al-Albani rahimahullah, he said, indeed I mentioned this issue of alcohol in a published treatise of mine. Did anybody find that?
Well, funny enough, subhanAllah, I was looking into that just today about this. Where is that treatise of the Shaykh? I mean, I've asked some of the students, which I'm not really satisfied with their answer, like Sheikh Ziyad Al-Abadi. He said it is Silsila itself. Some of them said Sahih Targhib wa Tarheeb. But if we look into the hadith Silsila As-Sahiha, hadith number 91, I'm not Zakir Naik, by the way. Remember, I just been looking at it today. That's why it's linked to my mind. Hadith 91, Silsila Sahiha, in there, the Shaykh Al-Albani talks about the same thing, that he had made a treatise. Is it to refute Ibn Hazm on this, refute, I don't know, but these are the treaties there, talked about it, Risala. Wallahu a'lam. I'm in search, I'm still in search. Faisal.
Sheikh, did you say only on topic? I'm driving, so I didn't hear you.
No problem, topic or no topic, as long as it's religious.
Okay. Of course. So, Sheikh, if someone is in a state of ihram and he kisses his wife with lust and he ejaculates, what happens to his umrah or hajj, and what's the expiation?
This always comes with funny questions. Everybody's laughing.
It can happen, though. That's why I'm asking.
It can happen. Anything can happen, but not everything can be asked about. No, nothing happens regarding the issue of his Hajj or Umrah. Okay, and there's nothing. The haram thing is the intercourse. Okay, nothing happens to his Hajj.
And no expiation, right, Sheikh? No expiation, kafara?
There's no expiation, but he's really playing with fire. If he's so close like this, he might make the intercourse, and his Hajj is finished. Not only that, he has to slaughter a camel. Not only that, he has to make the Hajj the following year, straight away. So it's not really something easy to tamper with. Camel costs a lot of money. Now, like Zuhra.
Assalamualaikum.
Salam.
Is it okay to send money abroad to for poor people to do udhiyah there rather than do it here?
Definitely nobody would say to you, you can't, unless he makes eating from the udhiyah for the person who's slaughtering it is compulsory. There are some, very few scholars, that you have to eat from it. So you are capable of doing it somewhere where you could eat from it, you're not allowed to send it up there. We say, Ikhwani, it is allowed, but it's not the sunnah. The sunnah is to do it where you are. You will say to me, there are no poor people like the other country. Well, make two then. One for the poor country that you live in, and one here. Because you want to do it here so that your families will join in. So if you are able as well to slaughter it with your own hands, some abattoirs will let you to do that. Or at least if you can't do it with your hand, watch it with your own eyes. Go there and see. They will definitely will let you to see it. Slaughter it. So you bring your children to look at it, to look at this. This is the udhiyah. That's a sunnah, great sunnah. Don't make, don't make it to be alienated from your family. Some the families, they don't know anything about this. So it's not correct just to go to the butcher, make me udhiyah in the name of such and such. Yourself, look for a farm, and inshallah they will make it opportunity for you to look and to see the slaughtering. Now.
Jazakallah khairah.
What's the ruling on starting a business?
Maghrib prayer is not on yet, yes? Yeah. What is the business ruling for?
Starting a business with a non-Muslim. I go 50-50 to start a business.
Can I make a business with a non-Muslim? Advisingly, no. But you can. With advice, no. But if you want, then you have to make sure that he only invests in halal. Because the non-Muslim has got no guidance like you have. So if you can guarantee that this person is not going to invest some of that money into haram, yeah, no problem. But to have a person, a partner who is non-Muslim and is trustworthy, it's no problem. But as I said, not advisable. I would really advise you to go and make a partnership with a Muslim, which is not good. Always choose the one who's pious. Now, طيب, Kwani Lan, we've got only 3 minutes. So if you don't have any questions, we say Jazakumullah khair for listening. We will tell you, inshallah, if there's maybe a new book in the coming days, if there's going to be, bidhnillah. And we always keep it to the short books, is better than the one very long. Definitely it's not going to be the majmu'ah, ya Shamma. No way. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك. جزاكم الله خيرا. بارك الله فيك.